Fantasy League Baseball. Who wants in? We're going to start a league. I'm looking for a minimum of 8 players. We're going to start a keeper league. Who wants in on baseball? We're going to talk about baseball today. We're going to talk about WWE, of course. We're getting a little bit close to March Madness. So we're going to talk about that as well. And of course, the most important part of what we're going to talk about today is going to be fantasy basketball playoffs. It's coming after the intro. So WWE Elimination Chamber happened recently. Result wise, I'm going to tell you what happened. All around, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. You know, a lot of people are very critical of WWE and the product that they put out. But to be honest, this time they came through. Women's tag team champions were crowned for the first time in WWE. That was Sasha Banks and Bayley. They are now tag team champions. There's already at least 6 teams that are there ready to go against them, which makes it pretty interesting. I give that a thumbs up. The match was amazing. They are going to be very entertaining in the next few months at least. And when I say they, I'm talking about the whole women's tag team division. It looks like all the women are down, and they kind of see a lot of them who already have tag teams waiting, basically pairs and pairs and pairs of girls. So it should be really interesting for the first couple of years, having these girls fight 2 at a time, and it actually means something. That's good. I liked it overall. What I didn't like so much was another match was Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott. I'll be honest with you, Ronda just squashed her. The match was maybe 3 minutes long. It sucked. It was hard to watch. There was no reason for it to be that quick when you're dealing with 2 wrestlers that are supposed to be good in a main event. No reason to squash them the way that she got squashed. Ruby Riott is going to be a good character. I guess she is young, so she has time to kind of bloom and grow into a better fighter. But Ronda just beat her up. It took her maybe 2 minutes is inappropriate. It's inappropriate. Finn Balor is now the Intercontinental Champion. He beat Lashley, but he beat Lashley by pinning Lio Rush. So what happened was it was a handicap match where I thought that easily Lashley was going to win, but I didn't know that it was a triple threat match, meaning that whoever gets pinned wins the championship regardless. So Lashley didn't get pinned. Finn Balor pinned Lio Rush and got the belt. Lashley was mad and beat up Lio Rush for a while. I'm not sure what that connection is anymore. It's kind of like a little dog, big dog, where there's the little one's just kind of doing all the barking and the big dog just kind of does the big dog thing. But yeah, it was actually a good match as well. Finn Balor he's a good champion. He should be okay for a while. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I could see him losing the belt again, maybe to Lashley again. Lashley might win the belt back. What I do like about this Lashley, why I think he's still going to be pretty relevant in the WWE universe, is because he doesn't talk much. He just goes out there and beats people up. And I can appreciate that, especially when you have somebody like Lio Rush there just kind of barking and doing all the talking for you. Usos won the belts again. I think this is 7 times. 7-time champion. They beat The Miz and Shane McMahon. Thank you. I cannot stand this tag team. They annoy me. I'm talking about The Miz and Shane McMahon. I'm hoping that that's what they were made to do, because they do such a good job of annoying me. And the funny thing is, I don't even have a specific thing that annoys me about them. It's just the all-around character of Shane McMahon and The Miz. It's just two people that have always really annoyed me in the WWE universe that made me nauseous together. So glad, so glad, so glad that they lost their titles. And I hope they don't get it back. Actually, I wouldn't mind if they turned on each other instead of beating each other up. We'll see what happens. WWE Universe is entertainment, which means that none of this sports stuff that I'm saying really matters if it's going to happen or not. But let's hope for the sake of comedy and entertainment that it does happen. I hope Shane and Miz start beating each other up soon. My upset of the night was Corbin when he defeated Braun Strowman. Corbin got Drew McIntyre and Lashley to beat up Braun Strowman in this no disqualification match. Even threw him through tables, the whole nine. Corbin basically did nothing, but got the match over Braun Strowman. It's good. Braun Strowman had to lose for some reason that's not like a clear beat, and Corbin did that. I like Corbin. I like Braun Strowman. I like that they're not making Corbin afraid of Braun Strowman. He doesn't mind fighting with Braun Strowman, which is what I like, because most of the other guys don't do that, because Braun Strowman is usually the monster among men. He's usually going to beat them up. So it's good that Corbin doesn't actually believe that Strowman could beat him up, and that's what makes it fun watching those two fight. They're both two big guys. There's no reason for one to be afraid of the other. Just fight. And that's what he did with Lashley and Drew McIntyre, two of the other big boys in the WWE. And it was fun. It was really fun. The final match, the main event match, Daniel Bryan retained his championship, his Captain Planet championship. It's made out of hemp, and it's made out of precious stones. His belt is amazing. I'm going to put that on the screen when you get the chance. He defeated Kofi Kingston in the finals of the Elimination Chamber match. It was great. If you didn't watch it yet, watch it. Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan put on a show in the finals. A lot of people really, really believed that Kofi Kingston was going to beat Daniel Bryan in an Elimination Chamber. But guys, Kofi Kingston is not going to beat Daniel Bryan in an Elimination Chamber. But it was a good attempt. It was a really, really good match. I would watch that match again. I probably will watch that match again. Randy Orton got eliminated clean by Kofi Kingston. Anyone who's like the true fans, I'm talking to the true fans right now, that knows the importance of Kofi Kingston beating Randy Orton, then you appreciated it as much as I did. But Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston stole the show at the end of the match. A lot of pinning sequences, a lot of everything, man. People got scared. People really thought that Kofi was gonna win. Everyone was cheering. The crowd was hot, and it was a really, really good ending where Daniel Bryan defeated Kofi Kingston. But it was worth it. I would do that all over again. All around, I give the Elimination Chamber a B plus, which is pretty good by my rating, because I'm hard to give an A plus out. A B plus is a pretty good one. I would watch the next Elimination Chamber if they put it together the same way, and I'll probably be watching the next main event or the next pay-per-view when it comes out, and I will tell you guys all about it again. We're going to talk about baseball. All right, so WFBL. Let's pretend you are part of the WFBL. What would you want me to do for you as the commissioner of this league? Well, I'll tell you. I'm going to give you a couple suggestions of who to watch in the WFBL. So Major League Baseball is now starting their spring training, which means you're getting a look at some of the guys that are coming up, some of the guys that are going to be there, and how much they're going to mesh. The hardest position to fill almost every league is the catcher position. Of course, some people right now are saying that it's going to be that the correct answer is going to be the pitchers, But let's be honest, guys. If you could get a stud catcher, you want that stud catcher. I am going to provide you with the very basic information of which ones you're trying to catch. Which catchers are you trying to get on your league to get that extra boost? That is probably the most unimportant yet most important position to have filled. If you could get a catcher in there that's going to play more than 3-4 games a week, then you are in elite company. Those extra at bats are usually the difference between a winning team and a not so winning team when you're dealing with fantasy baseball. So I am going to give you guys my picks for fantasy baseball league catchers. Number one, obviously, just got traded to the Phillies. Just left the Miami Marlins. You're looking at JT Realmuto. Is now with the Phillies. He's batting .277 last year, 21 home runs last year. Obviously was probably the best player on the Marlins team. Marlins team is notoriously often bad. They usually have a couple superstars that they can't keep because they're not really always looking like they're committed to winning. Realmuto just left that situation. Lucky for him, got traded to a team like the Phillies who have championship aspirations. When you watch other teams in other leagues win in your city, it's just a matter of time before that city starts to take it a lot more serious as well. If you are a believer of that, then you're going to want to take JT Realmuto as one of your first catchers or your first catcher. If you can do that, then you are in good company. Why? Because he's surrounded by talent. And the secret to having a good catcher on your team is that that player is surrounded by talent. It makes them play more. It gives them more at-bats. It gives them more opportunities for runs and RBIs. Realmuto's surrounded by Ryan Hoskins, who's just come into his own last couple years, and I think this is going to be the year of his best season, especially now that he has a player like Realmuto who is going to protect him in the lineup. Gene Segura just got there from the Mariners. He's also going to hit 200. He's going to have 200 hits this year. Miguel Franco is a third baseman. He's been there for a couple years, and he's going to have a pretty increased role on a team that's actually playing for a championship as well. Ryan Hoskins, their first baseman, hit, I believe, 27 home runs, and he just got called up to full-time playing last year. He's going to have a guy like Realmuto, who is usually on the top of a Mariners order. He should be dropping down to, I believe, second or third, which means that he's going to get a lot more hits, a lot of walks as well. That's what you're looking for when you're trying to win a fantasy baseball league. Those are some of the more important stats you're going to want to look for. You want to look at bats. You want to see how many runs he's going to get you, and you want to see how many RBIs he could get for you as well. If he's a 2-3 guy, then that's where most of the 100 guys are. The guys that the big boys that hit 40 home runs and really shape your team up. I don't want to give away too much because I want to win. Also, if you cannot get hold of JT Realmuto, then the second person you're going to want to look at is Gary Sanchez from the New York Yankees. Gary Sanchez just came off of a couple surgeries last year, a groin injury last year, so his numbers don't look like somebody who you'll be looking up very quickly in the lineup. That being said, that's why you could probably steal him in maybe a fourth or fifth round. He's 30 home runs, 250 average. You can't really ask for better than that these days. A lot of guys that hit a lot of home runs tend to have lower averages. 250 is about the minimum that I like to accept on my teams personally. I don't really want anyone that has less than a 250 average unless they're hitting 40, 50 home runs. Then I'll sacrifice for that guy. He's hitting 30 home runs a year. I'm guessing he's probably going to bump that up to about 35 or 40. The reason why I would take him above anything else is because of the support that he has. He has a lot of players. There's going to be a lot of Yankee runs made this year. Aaron Judge, Stanton. They have Didi Gregorius. They have DJ LeMahieu. The team's stacked. They're going to score a lot of runs. It's going to be a bad year for everyone in the American League when the Yankees come into your town because they are going to smash a lot of home runs. Get Gary Sanchez on your team if you can, and try to get as many Yankees you can get on your team, the better. That team is stacked, and they are going to power through the American League this year. My personal prediction. Obviously, Gary Sanchez is an AL pick. If you're looking in the National League, you're still looking at two more elite catchers in this league. Buster Posey is one of them. He is a career 306 hitter. Last year he had an off year, I believe. I think his numbers are going to go back up. He hit 285 last year. He didn't hit a lot of home runs, but if you're getting that from your catcher, take it because there's not a lot of them out there. Wilson Contreras from the Chicago Cubs is also going to be out there. He's also about a 250 hitter, and he plays every game, which is what you're going to want. Buster Posey is surrounded by a lot of young guys this year, so his numbers might not be as what I think Wilson Contreras is going to be. He's surrounded by talent. He has Chris Bryant there. He has Ian Happ, Anthony Rizzo. It's going to be a really, really good offensive year for the Cubs. So I would go for a Contreras. Buster Posey should still be able to put up numbers that he's been able to put up so far in his career. Pick him up too. If you're looking for a deep sleeper this year, look out for the Colorado Rockies. They have a guy down there by the name of Tom Murphy. He's in AAA right now. If he comes up mid-year and you see a name, remember this name, Tom Murphy, pick him up and hide him on your team. If he does get a lot of run this year, he should hit a lot of home runs. He's down in the AAA. He's with Albuquerque right now. He's hitting 286 out there and 47 home runs, 146 RBIs. That's in AAA, so you know he's ready to go. He just doesn't have the space in the Rockies. So if he does get traded, I expect him to get into the majors this year. Look out for him. That is my deep, dark, secret X factor. Hopefully, I'm right, and he'll come out and he'll make me look like an even more guru-esque man than I am. That's if you're into the Major League Baseball fantasy leagues like I am. And as I said, we're going to be opening up the league just now. Look out for it. Ask me questions. Get into contact with me if you want to join the league. All right? If we have more than 8 people, then it's probably going to be a $25 buy-in so that the winner gets some money. Wasn't too long ago, we were all sitting here entertained by the offense of the All-Star Weekend. The dunk-offs, the three-point shots, the skills competitions, all the offense from all the games, the rookie games, the celebrity games, the All-Star games. It's 68 years of the All-Star games. Well, guess what? We're in a new era now. We are in the fantasy era now, which means that some of us, while you guys were all there playing and having a good time and watching a meaningless game, some of us were preparing for the playoffs. Some of us were preparing for the fantasy basketball playoffs. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. We're a couple weeks away before the playoffs. This is when everyone takes the NBA serious. Before the Warriors come and beat the crap out of everybody and win the championship again, there are more important things to worry about, quite honestly. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. Fantasy basketball playoffs. We are a couple weeks in, and your team looks a little bit depleted because maybe you lost John Wall earlier. Maybe you don't know when the unibrow is going to play and when he's not going to play, and you've lost a little bit of confidence. What are you going to do? Well, let me tell you. You're going to pick up a couple of scab guys that are going to come in and just hit certain demographics for you to win in your league. Now, depending if it's a 9 category league, or an 11 category league, or a 10 category league, for whatever reason, you are going to want to pick up or take a look at some of these players if you feel a little bit short-handed. Okay? Front court, if you are looking for a nice front court player, a nice point guard, a small shooting guard, 39% owned, you get a good amount of steals, you get a low turnover rate. That's what he's going to add to your team. That guy is Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart plays for Boston, which means that with Kyrie getting minutes here and here there, you don't really kind of limit him a little bit on his limits or on his minutes. Means you have Marcus Smart that comes in there, keeps the turnovers low, gets a lot of steals by playing a lot of gritty defense, and if you could pick him up on your team, then that will help you with your defensive stats. The defensive stats are going to be the difference between whether you're going to win your championship or whether or not you're going to win your championship. And that's just what's going to happen. If you're looking for a nice shooting guard, small forward combo, look at Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges is only 25% owned, which means he's still out there for a lot of you guys who are trying to get the playoff push. Again, a lot of turnovers. Not a lot of turnovers. He gets a lot of steals, and the downfall of a guy like him, which doesn't really matter if you're looking at him as a shooting guard, is that he doesn't block a lot of shots. Doesn't really matter. You don't really expect that from your guards anyways. You more expect that from your forwards. But he does get a few steals, which means if you're short a guy or if a guy's injured and you feel like you want to drop somebody, if you don't trust somebody and you need just a couple numbers, even though you're going to lose a little bit on points, then I would look at a guy like Mikal Bridges for sure if you're looking for a lot of steals. If you're looking for someone a little bit lower in your front court, I would take a look at PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker plays for the Rockets. He's a 3-and-D guy who gets a lot of minutes. 3-and-D means he hits a lot of three-pointers and he plays a lot of defense. He's a small forward, and he could also slot him at power forward in the NBA fantasy league. Big steals nights, doesn't turn over the ball a lot. Big steal nights means that he'll get you 1 or 2 a night, but every so often he's going to give you 5 or he's going to give you 6. And that's really beneficial when you are trying to win those demographics. Those are the important ones. Those are the ones where you steal a lot of points from to win the championships. Even if you think your team is down a little bit on points or other demographics, if you are winning steals and blocks with a couple extra guys and you're willing to sacrifice a little bit, maybe a field goal percentage drop, if you're trying to pick up a slick little guard, he might turn over the ball a little bit, but gives you a lot of extra defensive stats, then get that guy. If you're looking for a center though, who's right now in the offense, gets you a lot of blocks, and is well rested because he hasn't really played a lot in the last couple of years, and he's only 22% owned, and it's still going up, means that a lot of people know that this is happening. Memphis Grizzlies, Joakim Noah. He hasn't played since Chicago, and now he's back and he's getting a lot of playing time with Memphis. He's splitting time with Valanciunas right now, and it looks like they're making themselves to be a pretty good tandem. Those are the guys that you're going to want to get, the type of guys that you want to get if you want to boost your defense for the playoffs, which everyone wants to boost their defense before the playoffs. You want to get those blocks, you want to get those steals. So again, just to let you know, you are going to look at Marcus Smart. You want to look at Mikal Bridges. He plays for the Suns, by the way. I know there's another Bridges on the team in the league, but we are talking about the Phoenix Suns, Mikal Bridges. You're going to want Joakim Noah. You're going to look at Joakim Noah. You're going to want to pick up PJ Tucker as well. 42% owned. As I said, classic 3-and-D defender and three-point specialist. Big steals, no turnovers. And he's only 42% owned, which means that he's probably sitting inside your in your available player slot. So pick him up. Playoffs are coming, man. NBA playoffs are coming, but even better, NBA fantasy playoffs are coming, and we're about to enjoy that a lot more than the playoffs. What did we learn today, folks? Today we learned that WWE is still entertaining. We have women's tag team champions. That's cool. We got that. And we also learned that it takes 3 grown men to beat up Braun Strowman. And I love that. I love WWE forever. Look out this year if you want to make if you want to win your season this year in fantasy baseball, then I suggest that you take a look at some of your catchers and try to grab a good catcher before everyone else does. If you get a good catcher that plays 80% of the season, then you have a pretty good chance of winning your championship. Trust me, even if your other team has a couple good guys and you're not too sure how it's going to work out, if you have a guy in your catcher slot, an offensive guy in your catcher slot, you have a very good chance of winning your league. Okay? And we've also learned that some of you guys who didn't care about the players that I was suggesting you pick up are probably not going to the fantasy basketball playoffs in your league, which means that you suck. I can't tell you anything else because you don't have numbers to show me that you don't suck. So guess what? I judged you. Fantasy basketball. Get your teams together. It's almost playoff time. If you do not, then you're not taking this serious enough, which means that you suck. And that's all I got to say about that. This is episode 6, folks. This is LeBron in Miami, episode 6. And I'm glad you guys watched, and I hope you guys watch next week when we post some more stuff. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's again been a slice. I'll see you guys next week.